Hey guys! Happy 5th anniversary to everyone in DFFOO. This is my first clear in my Conquering Crevasse series in the anniversary event, and as you can see, I'm starting right from stage 6, and my plan is to work backwards from stage 6 all the way up to stage 1, and I recommend everyone to do it that way as well, so that you have access to a wider roster for the more challenging stages in Crevasse. This run is going to be a 5-turn cheese strategy using the combination of Minwu and Penelo. Plus I think it's a good showcase of Penelo in the support capacity. The third party member is flexible. You can use a third party member that can synergize with the codes. In this case I use Yuna, since she's also a staff user and she shares the same color crystal as Penelo, which is white. You don't need Yuna really fully built. Up to her LD is enough. In fact, I have her BT but I never used her BT and I did not queen Yuna, so no BT plus. Bonus if you have Yuna's BT plus. Anyway, I'm about to end Minwu's turn. So a quick description of what you should be doing right at the start. All you really need to do is to reset until Minwu X first. We shouldn't take too many resets, his speed is fairly high. Once he starts first amongst your party, you will have to eat one recast attack at the start, but the recast attack will trigger Minwu's traps and heal you slightly. If the boss follows up with Mana Breath plus, Minwu may actually die, in which case just reset and hope that the boss does Mana Breath instead of Mana Breath plus. It's actually RNG which version of Mana Breath it uses. Once you survive the initial onslaught from the bosses, use both of Sid Rain's call to line up the turn order so that Yuna X second and Penelo X third, and then use one additional ability and end Minwu's turn using BT+. Yuna acting second allows you to use Asuna, and all you really want to do is spam Asuna and cheer. In case you're wondering why am I spamming Asuna and cheer multiple times, even though I'm already buffed and my force gauge is at 100%, the goal here, funnily enough, is to help the bosses charge their force gauge to 100%. That's right, you want the bosses to hit 100% force. So just waste as many turns as you can using Yuna's instant turn ability. And here I use a Lunafreya call, just so that once you're pretty comfortable and the bosses are 70-80% force gauge, you can have the instant turns to use Yuna's EX and LD to get her EX and LD buff up. I use 2 LDs here, so if you have Yuna's BT plus, you can swap one of her LD used for BT plus instead and get her BT aura up that way. Now why do you want the bosses to hit 100% force gauge? That's because you want them to enter force time so that you can use Penelo's FR to hit force weakness and bring them out of force time and reset their force gauge down to 0. And that's because when their force gauge is under 30%, they can actually be launched. That's why Minwu actually has the Sid Rain's LD call. This also means that you need to set the force weakness code that ties in with Penelo's FR, the one that is instant turn without doing Brave and HP damage and restores S1 and S2. Make sure that before you use Penelo's FR, her S1 and S2 is at 6 or below charges remaining, otherwise you will not be able to meet the force weakness requirements. You don't have to worry about the boss's force attack, you are guaranteed to survive because it does 40% of your current health in damage. And anyway, once you hit Penelo's FR, she will fully heal everyone, so in effect the enemy's force attack does essentially nothing. Before I use force time, I use the FuSoYa LD call. It's a nice LD call because it lasts for 3 turns, which is just nice because I am going to end Penelo's turn with 1 turn of call aura remaining. So I enter force time here, which hits force weakness and brings the boss to 0% force gauge. The next order of business is you want to start Minwu's turn at 8 turns of force time remaining, which means here I use one S1 to charge the force gauge and give myself a 125% bonus, which is pretty nice. And then I end the turn using Penelo's BT+. With this, setup is complete and you can start the cheese. So what is the cheese on this stage? It is actually Minwu's BT mode, and for this to work you need Minwu green because you need his BT aura up when you enter his BT mode, which is why I use BT plus on his first turn. First off, I use one Holy 16. This is mainly to refresh his traps to 6 turns on both bosses. This is really a good example of why Penelo is really very good. Even though I'm using Minwu's BT mode, you can still use Penelo's force time to gel nicely with his BT mode. Penelo's force time is so generic that it really fits in with anyone's BT mode, which is really flexible. You actually see the start of the cheese here because I passed through the 89% threshold. So a little bit of explanation of what's actually happening throughout the BT mode. At specific HP thresholds that the bosses pass through, which is 89, 69, 49, 29 and 9% HP, they will trigger Concentrate. Concentrate lands some debuffs on you, but in this case doesn't really matter too much because I'm loaded up with quite a lot of frame buffs. But one important effect of Concentrate is that it reduces all debuffs on the bosses by 2 turn duration, and the 2 turn duration reduction normally will not take effect in BT mode, but it does take down trap-like effects such as Minwu's trap. Minwu's trap is coded to release trap Holy 16 anytime the trap duration decreases. So the trap decreasing by 2 turns actually means that it triggers twice, and because Minwu's BT plus aura is up, it actually triggers double the amount. This leads to a lot of damage and essentially helps you to bring the boss to the next threshold where the boss will do Concentrate again and repeat the cheese all over again. So I've passed by the 89% threshold, the next threshold is 69%. Once you've done that, you hit Concentrate, and I've actually passed through that already just by going through the next attack, and I've actually hit the 49% threshold. As you proceed through Minwu's BT mode, each turn in BT mode you plus 75% force gauge, so it becomes easier and easier to reach the next threshold where you will trigger Concentrate and you will trigger Minwu's trap, triggering all over again. It sounds very convoluted, but the short and sweet of it is that for each 20% HP threshold that you pass through the boss helps you by decreasing Minwu's traps by 2 turn duration, and each 20% therefore triggers a whole range of Holy 16 traps, triggering over and over again. My Minwu isn't really very well built. He does have an ultimate weapon, but it is only a 0 out of 5 ultimate weapon. One final note about his BT mode is that you want to try to maximize triggering his traps during his BT mode. So what you can do is use EX. His EX will trigger his traps. You can use his LD to refresh his EX meter in BT mode. And finally, you can use Teleport 16 to trigger traps on both enemies. Don't forget, I entered BT mode with 8 turns of force time remaining, so even if for some reason the boss survives this BT mode, all you really have to do is pop summon and use Penelo LD to really nuke off the boss at the end of this rotation. But as you can see, in this run here it's not even needed. The boss is essentially dead right here, and I still have 2 turns of BT mode remaining to kill off the bosses, so there's a lot of leeway here, and you should be able to replicate this run even if your characters are not as fully built. If your Yuna has access to BT+, you should be doing even greater damage than this. In terms of alternatives, if you don't have Yuna, you can also consider using Aerith. Aerith is also a staff user and she's a red crystal character, which means she shares the same crystal and weapon type as Minwu. Finally, if you don't have Penelo FRBT, my recommendation is to actually go and pull for her. She's a really good, strong and flexible global first, and she should serve you nicely and give you a nice return on your investment in the next few months to come. Not bad, 220 million HP damage PT mode. Anyway, that's it for this run. As always, I hope the video has been helpful, and if you enjoyed the content, do leave a like, comment or subscribe, it really helps a lot. Till then, I'll see you guys in the next Conquering Crevasse video. Bye!